lie begin. Pussy niggas get served. Another bridge to burn. Either live or you learn. Digits get earned. Off the head top, it ain't perm. Never been the type to curl like Big Worm. Catch your fade over your shoulder. Try to test my release. You get deceased. Smoke like the kush overseas from Middle East. No beast. I ain't touched that shit since 12 or 13. Ducking 12 from lurking while we skelling murk things. Counterclock my life and still laughing most of the timeline. Try to come between me and Fetty, a fine line.
So I made a video last week stating more depth. And even though I do think we do need more depth, I wanted to highlight after the Patriots game on Saturday, they won with a score of 24-21. That's really not the important part. The important part is the flashes that we seen from the guys that are behind our starters. And the one thing that I'm noticing is Howie Roseman and honestly the coaching staff as well. I have to give them credit. They're playing a game of chess out there where with certain guys, they're giving them some run, not much run. But those guys that you may question as fans, like, yo, why isn't he getting in the game anymore? Like the Cole Paytons of the world and the Willie Lampkins of the world, who only played like a couple series, and I think he only played like the first quarter of last week's game. And well, we probably won't see any Ty Robinson for the rest of preseason either. And the reason for that is we are trying to secure those players. We don't want those players to hit waivers because those players are going to fit. Right now, they fit depth, but I do see a lot in their futures. And I want to start with Ty Robinson because I was very hot and cold on Ty Robinson. Coming out in that draft, I didn't think we should have taken a defensive tackle in the third round. I think that was kind of like the rich getting richer. But they loved his prototype. He came out in Nebraska, I think. I'm pretty sure it was Nebraska, but they love his prototype. Big guy, hard worker. And he's just filled lanes on the run, but he did have some upside as a pass rusher. And last year, even Vic Fangio said that he was on life support last year. Shout out to Vic Fangio, bro, because Fangio be going crazy when he be ranking niggas. Like, people don't notice how Fangio be getting down, but Fangio be ranking niggas. That should be funny as hell. But yeah, he pretty much said that last year Ty was still learning the game. He wasn't really getting the full grasp of what it is to be a pro, and he needed that first year from under him. And this preseason, y'all, Ty Robinson might be the best player that we have on this team in the preseason. Let me just tell you, on 6 quarters of preseason work, this is Ryan Fowler that posted this, 6 pressures, 4 QB hits, 3 sacks, and 3 tackles for losses. This dude is playing like he's on a mission to secure a rotational DT spot on this team going forward in the future. We all have heard the whispers of Uar Bernard all offseason. Everybody is, glazing the Nigerian defensive tackle who's a freak of nature, has all the tools physically, but just doesn't have any experience playing the game, and it's going to take him a very long time to develop. But shout out to him and Joshua Ruru, I think his name is. Shout out to them, man, and Joshua Ruru had a sack. I think he's coming along a little bit more than Uar, but both of them are not touching anywhere near Ty Robinson and where Ty Robinson is right now as a professional DT in the NFL. So I say that to say it makes the Moro Ojomo contract extension talk very, very interesting because of the simple fact that we just extended Jalen Carter. We just extended Jordan Davis. Are we going to extend a third DT? I think if there's any team in the NFL that will show you how much they value defensive tackle, I wouldn't be surprised. But when you have guys like Ty Robinson, you know, freaking really, really eager for an opportunity, you might want to give him that opportunity, especially next year. He'll be going into year 3, I'm almost certain, and that's the year that you take that next step, that big jump. I can name guys like Moro Jomo, took that, nice jump in year 3. Milton Williams, same thing, took a really nice jump in year 3. Jordan Davis, same thing, took a really good jump in year 3. So I say that to say, Ty Robinson can be in the spot that Moro Ojomo is claiming right now, with this being a contract year, because I think Moro can go on the market and make $30 million as a defensive tackle, $30 million a year easily, because he's going to have a hell of a season. I think he'll finish with like 6 to 7 sacks, have a whole bunch of pressures, and he'll finish top 5 in pressure rate in the NFL because that's what he's been doing the last 2 years from the defensive tackle position in terms of DT pressure rate. So, or pass rush win rate. It's one or the other. But I think that I'm very comfortable with saying that Ty Robinson definitely deserves a chance next year to really claim that spot if we want to save that money and allocate it somewhere else. You know what I mean? So he's one guy. The next guy I want to talk about straight up is Willie Lampkin, center. We claimed him off of the Rams waivers, I think, last year, and everybody was like, "Yo, he has some tremendous upside. He's a little undersized, but he can move his feet really well. He run blocks really well, and he packs a punch with his hits." So last year, we all were kind of like, especially during the regular season, where our offensive line were kind of going through struggles, we were kind of wondering where he was. But he might have been battling some injuries, or we just probably didn't want him to get claimed off waivers. We might have had him on the practice squad or on some type of reserve. I don't know. But he wasn't in the mix last year at all. Didn't hear much about him. Going into camp this year, there was some, talks, about him, finally getting on the field and getting more reps. And he finally did. And these 2 preseason games have really, really shown me that Willie Lampkin is a starting offensive lineman in this league. He's just on a really good team that is rich in the trenches, because this dude, bro, he runs his lead block and he is amazing at getting to the next level and just punching the linebackers or the safeties, whoever's in front of him, in the mouth. And I really like him as a center. Cam Jurgens, I think is a really solid player. I think that Cam Jurgens, the year we went to the Super Bowl, put it all on the line, and that Super Bowl, it took a toll on our whole offensive line. You know what I mean? Landon Dickerson ain't the same player either. But I feel very, very comfortable if Willie Lampkin got to get in there and ball out. I do. And the one thing that I'm kind of afraid of is, and the only thing that, in my opinion, is probably saving this situation is the bread. And, because we did pay Cam a lot of money. But the one thing that I am afraid of is that Willie Lampkin's going to be so fucking good that Cam Jurgens might just lose his fucking job. And that's not a place that you want to be in, knowing that you gave him, some bread guaranteed on that deal. And, the, then you start to question what happens with Tyler Steen? Do you move Cam Jurgens to guard because you're paying him so much money just to get somebody like Willie Lampkin on the field? And I think Tyler Steen is due for having a breakout year. Tyler Steen, man, he gets a lot of shit, but he was one of my favorite players to watch last year because he was just no bullshit. He didn't make many mistakes compared to everybody else. And that Washington game where they pretty much ragged his ass and he was still holding shit down because he ain't give a fuck. Man, that showed me a lot about Tyler Steen's heart, man. So I'm rooting for Tyler Steen. I honestly hope this doesn't happen. But I say that to say now, for the first time in a very long time, the Eagles have enough depth on the offensive line to really feel okay if something happens, knock on wood. I mean, think about it. If your right tackle goes down, Lane Johnson, like he did last year, we're not depending so much on Fred Johnson. Fred can still play swing. I'd put Markel Bell in there right now. I think Markel Bell is the future right tackle of this team after this year, but obviously we know the win-loss record with Lane Johnson, so I'm not about to wish that shit. But I'm just saying, now we have somebody where we're like, oh, it's not Fred. Even though I liked Fred, Fred had some limitations that Markel might not have, being a younger player and 6'9" and just a mongoloid. So I like that. Now, if Steen goes down, you got Drew Kendall that you can put in there. You also can rotate Cam into that guard spot and move Landon there, or you can move Lampkin into the center spot, which I would prefer, and move Cam to the guard spot. So you have your interchangeable guards for your, inside guards who were hurt last year. You have a backup plan at the very least, and I really like that. I really, really like that for this team. And then your left tackle spot. I mean, Mailata is an Iron Man. Knock on wood. He's been fairly healthy throughout his whole career, so I don't foresee that shit changing. I'm hoping he has another really good season. But if worse comes to worse, I'm not sure. I haven't heard much about them cross training Markel Bell at all at left tackle. So it'll probably be Fred Johnson at left tackle if needed. So, you just gotta kind of just hold your breath and hope that the offensive line stays healthy and we have a fucking great season. But at the same time, we have so much depth. It's amazing what we're gonna be able to do if somebody does go down. I think we'll still be, just freaking fine, honestly. Um, and then the last person that I did want to talk about this preseason, who I think personally deserves a lot more stock is Markel Bell himself, because of the simple fact that Markel Bell has really been holding his own against, first round picks, second round picks that are training. I think he played against Zion Young from the pass rusher. I think he was a second round pass rusher from Baltimore in the Baltimore game. Balled out against him. Played against what's home name? I really like him too. I think Cody Lucas or Luke or Will Luke. I don't know his freaking first name, but I think his last name's Lucas. The pass rusher that New England drafted. I really like him. He's a nice little linebacker that they got, and he was balling out. But in the reps where he was going against Bell and going against some other, going against I think our left tackle that we had out there too, like, they were doing a good job against him, and I think the offensive line, Chris Cooper, I think his name is, the offensive line coach, he's done a really good job of just preparing the guys, man, and just making sure they're in their right spots. The run game, it looks amazing. The run game looks night and day compared to what it looked like last year. So you got to be excited about that. You got to be excited about how the guys are reacting to it, where they're talking about moving side to side, and it just helps out keeping the linemen fresh, and that's why I think they'll be healthy for the most part. Because I think the scheme caters to it. We're not playing so downhill where you're just freaking physical every play, and dudes is just gonna end up getting hurt. And hopefully we're in a lot less tush push situations where those type of plays that are exhausting to the body don't happen as much because we're just converting. You know what I mean? In the game, the pass game looked a little better than it did in the first game against Baltimore, but I'm still like, we won't know nothing till week one. You know what I'm saying, bro? We won't know shit till week one. At the end of the day, we just gotta roll with the punches with preseason. We got a couple more weeks left of this shit. You know what I mean? Like, it was nice to get the joint practice in with New England. I think that was probably the biggest highlight of camp. Like, and now this last week is kind of just, wrapping up whatever installs that they might have left, or whatever film they got to assess from the joint practices or from the preseason game, and then get prep for the last preseason game. And from that point on, bro, we're a couple weeks from football, so then you're getting in preparation for week one for Washington. Yeah, for Washington. So it's been a really good camp. Um, they had a practice today. The offense worked on a lot of actually, ironically, the offense worked on a lot of stuff that we excel at last year, or when that we didn't. did sometimes, didn't sometimes. You know what I mean? Like the inconsistent shit, the Sirianni shit. If we're being real, but it, like we have a Super Bowl ring from it too. Like I can't be fucking that upset about it. But the vertical part of the field, like the sidelines and not the middle of the field, and we worked on a lot of outside passing and just a lot of the norm from last year. So we nothing really too crazy to harp about. ESP said that Jalen had an okay day. Didn't he made some uncharacteristic throws, some overthrows and stuff, and it happens. You know what I mean? I think that the more Jalen works, the more he keeps at it. I think he'll be just fine. We just gotta honestly get our whole offense on the field. I think today might have been the first day in practice where Makai Lemon was actually like back on the field with the guys, getting first team reps. So that's encouraging to see, man. That's encouraging. Him, Wicks, and Smitty were actually on the field for the first time, and if we can stay healthy for the rest of camp, these next few weeks are gonna be pivotal. I really, really wish that we would give them a series this week, but it ain't gonna happen. So I ain't even gonna get my hopes up on that shit. Not at all, whatsoever. You feel me? But I just wanted to come through real quick just to talk about the game. And just chop it up with y'all because I been MIA since last week. Last video I told y'all niggas I was sick. I was dealing with it. So it is what it is, man. But I'll be back very, very soon. Live streams coming soon. Straight up, I'm gonna be doing live streams every single week during the week, either on Facebook or here on YouTube. I'm gonna try to do both at the same time, type shit, because I really want to do like weekly debates on like what's going on during the week. So like, say there's a big game and people want to chop it up about it, or if you a fan of the ops over there in Dallas, or if you a fan of the ops in New York, or if you a fan of the ops over in Washington, and you want to pull up just to talk some shit, man, I would really love that because I'm trying to build a community here, and I want everyone to feel like they entitled to their opinion and they can say what they want to say. You know what I mean? As long as they keep it respectful. At the end of the day, we all grown adults and we all know how to conduct ourselves. So I really would encourage anyone that want to join them when I start doing them. Hit me up. Let me know, bro. Join the lives, bro. We gonna build this community brick by brick. You feel me? But it's your boy Zayo Facts, man. This is talking sporty. I holla at y'all.